3.
So we're coming up here, I think, towards the circus. So it was designed by John Wood the Elder, who it didn't actually get completed before he died, so he's John Wood the Younger completed it, but it is interesting in a esoteric way because he was very interested in druidry, and apparently he did carry out an extensive survey of Stonehenge, and the circumference or the diameter of the circus is supposed to be very close to Stonehenge, so he was sort of inspired by that for the some of the parameters of it. But as you'll see as we get in a bit closer here, he was also a Freemason. So you've got all these symbols. If you see at the top of the columns, there's I forget the exact, about 525 symbols all the way round, all different symbols, all various connotations to them to do with Freemasonry and Druidry. So the architecture is all very much encoded with the esoteric, and the design of the circus obviously is a circle. It's from apparently the original Latin word circus just means a circle or something similar. And then, as you'll see later, there's a connecting road, which is Brock Street. As we'll go all the way around the circus, you see these incredible old trees in the centre as well. I know they've had some modern Druid ceremonies there, right in the green under the trees in the middle of the circus.
Are you going to tell them your funny little story about your friend?
This guy I used to know was getting drunk in the local pub. And he got chatting to this old guy and I think a couple. And then this guy was like, "Oh, come with us." Oh, there's me. He was like, "Come with us. We're just going to go into the circus." And they were sat under those trees. It was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they had like a drum, and they were getting a bit, getting into the chanting and stuff like that. And my mate was there thinking, "Oh, I'm drunk, but it's all right." And then all of a sudden, the woman pops her boob out and puts his hand on the lady's boob. This old couple, and
bloody druids, bloody pagans,
and my mate suddenly
weirdos,
sort of realisation of
what
was happening and legged it, scarpered.
So anyway, moving on.
So we then come. So as I say, the circus is supposed to represent, in a lot of people thinking that this represents the sun. And then, as you'll see as we get round to the other side, there's a connecting road called Brock Street, which is apparently or allegedly on a ley line. And then that connects to the Royal Crescent, which we will see presently. And the Royal Crescent represents the moon. So you've got the sun and the moon. And there's also, some people have said that there's also a square, which we'll show later, called Queen Square, which is sort of south or downhill from this circus.
Yeah, we'll show that road later in a minute.
Yeah, but that represents the earth also. So there's got this sort of symbolic journey: earth, sun, and moon. And apparently, well, we can show an image later from the air. The circus and the adjoining road and the Royal Crescent looks like a key shape, and that is an important symbol in Freemasonry apparently. So yeah, you've got all these symbols around the outside, and also acorns at the top,
I show them a bit better in a minute.
which you'll see later as well, all the way along. And you've got these columns, columns, in a sort of more Greek style. But yeah, he was very interested in the legends of England, as he did a study of Stonehenge and Stanton Drew stone circles, and there's all these symbols of Freemasonry. He was also very interested in the legend of King Bladud, who was
Pigs.
yeah.
We used to have hundreds of pigs all over Bath.
So he wrote about sacred geometry, and he argued that the myths of the supposed founder of Bath, King Bladud, were based on truth. And he claimed that the ancient British stone circles were the remains of once more elaborate buildings designed by Bladud. It mentions here about in his Masonic lecture and article, Stephen Ben Cox tentatively suggests an image for this as the square, Queen Square, the circle, the circus, and the crescent, the royal crescent, standing for Earth, Sun, and Moon, and following the Masonic path of the Sun in the lodge from east, the Master Chair, to south, the Junior Warden, and exiting in the west, the Senior Warden, as a symbol of man's spiritual progress in life, from the rough to the smooth ashlar. Whatever that is. A few more of those symbols up close. Yeah, so it's 525 altogether, and I believe they're all different.
So there was like snakes, and there was like wheat sheaves, and there was like roses and grapes, just like thousands of different, not thousands, 520 something or another. In a minute, at the top there, at the top, right at the top, kind of right at the top, just underneath the chimneys. That's where all the, what is it? Acorns are, and it just looked like loads of pineal glands all the way round. That's what it looked. See that straight? Oh, Mark's pointing to acorns. There we go. Yeah. It's amazing, really. You live there all your bloody life, you don't notice these things.
So the road there down to the left past that light is Gay Street, which is the road which leads down to Queen Square. So as I say, someone has talked in Freemasonry about it, that square representing the earth, in a sort of triumvirate with the sun and the moon from the Circus and the Royal Crescent. And there is Queen Square, and it's got a Cleopatra needle type thing as well, which very symbolic, history behind that as well. So it's had many famous residents, as you might imagine, or prominent people over the centuries in the Circus and the Royal Crescent. Thomas Gainsborough, the painter, was in the Circus at one point. And a bit more surprisingly, the Hollywood actor Nicolas Cage lived there for a number of years. I think maybe he got interested in the area. He did the remake of The Wicker Man, so lots of pagan, esoteric things there. But I mean, I've seen one particular website, but a lot of mention of a lot of his films have got connections with that sort of esoteric Freemasonry type of thing. National Treasure film around Knights Templar. And
so ages ago, years ago, when the kids were little, we went to they had an open day in Bath Masonic Lodge, and there's like a little tribute to Nicolas Cage. There's like a little corner of the Freemasonic Lodge, which was weird, and I had a bit of a weird experience in there, but anyway. And yeah, it's got like the video case and stills of the film, and like from what I can remember, and like just a little tribute to Nicolas Cage. Oh, look, see the Freemasonic floor there. Yeah. Black and white duality stuff. Anyway, so yeah, he would have probably been buzzing around Bath Masonic Lodge, no doubt.
Yeah. And just as an aside, what is currently the Masonic Lodge in Bath used to be the old Theatre Royal. There's now a new, bigger theatre in Bath, but what is now the Masonic Lodge used to be a theatre, the first Theatre Royal outside of London. I don't know. I suppose you could put some interesting links there.
Right opposite. It's a really skinny little street. We should video it, really. So you've got the Masonic Lodge on the left, and you just walk past it. It's sort of like, there's not really, and there's nothing on the outside to say that it's a Freemasonic lodge, not like that one in Chippenham where it's plastered all over the place. You would walk straight past it, but right opposite is the Spiritualist Church. It's a very strange street, that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's very tucked away, and now it's just sort of behind where a supermarket is and all that sort of thing. But
It's behind Marks and Spencer's, sort of.
yeah,
Kind of.
but yeah, it's tucked away. But I was just thinking, in a way, you've got the thing. It used to be a theatre, and now it's a Freemason lodge, and all these sort of connections with Freemasonry. Well, and actors like Nicolas Cage,
Oh.
and all the world's a stage type thing, and making everything stagecraft. But we're coming up here to Brock Street, so this road off to the left is the connecting road between the Circus and the Royal Crescent. So as I say, it's allegedly follows a ley line, this road we're about to walk down here, Brock Street. So it's the linking of the sun and the moon in the two, the Circus and the Royal Crescent. The Royal Crescent, as I say, John Wood the Elder, I think died before everything was finished. So his son was also an architect, John Wood the Younger, and he carried on the process. So I think he basically designed the Royal Crescent, which we're approaching now. So that was his design, whereas the Circus was mainly his father. And both the Circus and the Royal Crescent have got these Palladian, as they call it, elements.
Not like Palladians. It's not like the Palladians.
Though, is it?
Who knows?
I mean, is it? But yeah, the idea of sort of Roman architecture, and the Circus is also modelled on the Colosseum in parts, with the columns, etc. So I guess you got a linking there of the Roman with the more ancient British pagan stuff, as I say, because John Wood the Elder was fascinated by Druidry and Stonehenge, so you've got connections there, but layers, I suppose, of ancient history and how these symbols and beliefs have come through the centuries and gone through different stages with, like, the Romans, the Greeks, the Druids, the pagans.
Well, they all congregated around our house, mind. We had them all round here.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all, yes.
It's because of the water.
Well, yeah, that's another thing with Bath, of course, as we've said before.
And
It's
don't
on
forget, Bath is Avon, and we live in Wiltshire, but Bath and Wiltshire, Avon and Wiltshire are just like glued together, so we can walk. I'm going to say drive 2 minutes down the road because it'd take me 3 days, but literally we go Wiltshire, Baines, but like Andrew Thomas was saying, it's all the aquifers, and that's where we get all the crop circles. But we've got the Thermae spas and Aquasulis.
Yeah, I
Minerva.
mean, it all tied up for years. I mean, from the Romans, they venerated these hot waters as healing properties, and so they
Well, the Druids would have
built
done
around
before
there.
that.
Exactly, and then it became fashionable in the time, the Jane Austen time. It became a place to be, and quite refined. But for a long period before that, it was quite before the Jane Austen time. For a while, it was quite a rough and ready place, and it was quite notorious.
Yeah.
And so you had like the wife of Bath in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Is a bit of a naughty, saucy lady, and it's all about.
Well, yeah, and that was a bit rude because when I was doing A-levels, we did the wife of Bath, and they're like, oh, so she had gappy teeth. Well, what does that symbolise? Open teeth, open legs. And who's the only one in the A-level course with gappy teeth?
Oh dear.
So that caused some laughter.
Oh dear.
And some long-term
Trauma.
mental health.
So this is.
No, Bath used to be we're coming up to it now. Right, I'll shut up.
No, well, anyway, we've just passed number 1 Lansdowne Crescent, so they made it a museum, so they preserved it as it used to look.
It's really
in
nice
the 18th
now,
century.
Yeah. You go in there and have a little look round. There it is. Look.
John Wood Jr.
Okay. So Senior did the moon.
No.
No, Senior did the sun. the crescent. No. John Senior did the fucking sun, which was the circus.
Yes.
John Junior did this, which is the moon, which is the crescent.
Yeah, the royal crescent. A bit of work there, as you can see.
It usually looks a bit nicer than that.
Yeah. And this overlooks the Royal Victoria Park, which is a very large park. Which, they've had various events there over the years. They did have the 3 tenors there once. Didn't see it, but yeah, looking out over the park. Beautiful day, and that's not a bad front garden, is it? And mind you, get full of tourists.
Millions of pounds it cost to buy one of those, as you probably gathered. Yeah. We've got a couple up there, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple. But Bath used to be the place that they'd come to if they wanted to be debauched. They'd come to Bath and have a bit of a debauched, like they'd come down from London and be debauched and then fuck off back up there and be posh.
Yeah. Well,
it used to be like a giant Soho. It was quite the decadent place, was Bath.
Mm.
So I think we skipped over King Bladud a bit too fast, didn't we? So when King Bladud was Prince Bladud, apparently he was the father of King Lear. The legend is he was the first person to bathe in the naturally hot mineral water of Bath. So he was banished from his kingdom around 863 BC, banished from the kingdom because him and his pigs had leprosy. So off they went on a little roam, and they got to the area of Bath. It wasn't called Bath then, obviously, and the pigs, being pigs, liked a little wallow in the mud. And then all of a sudden, Prince Bladud realised that the pig's leprosy was cured, so he started putting the mud on himself and bathing in the waters, and his own leprosy got cured. So he went back to his kingdom, and everybody's like, yay, you don't look like a dishevelled leper anymore, we'll have you. Very judgmental back in them days. So he then became the 9th King of the Britons and went on to establish the city of Bath. Now, most people think the Romans established the city of Bath. That's not true. It was King Bladud, Bladud. And then obviously the Romans came along and, like they do, steal all the best bits, don't they? So that's where they made the Roman baths, blah, 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 blah. And those little acorns on top of, that look like pineal glands on top of the circus, they reckon that was John Wood's kind of tribute to King Bladud, because obviously pigs like eating acorns, it's their favourite food kind of thing. So that's a little bit about that. So this is the aerial view of the circus and the crescent linked by Brock Street that we walked down. And this used to be quite an important Masonic symbol. I couldn't find a lot of information on it, and then I found why, because they don't use it very much anymore. So this is what I found. Right, so let's look at the key, the Freemasonic Key. So I found this, it's got to scroll down a little bit. So this is on the website Mysterious Writings, and the person that wrote this is called Duncan Burden. And he wrote it in 2019, and the top 10 Freemasonry symbols and Masonic secrets. It's quite difficult to find what the key means. This guy gives a little explanation why that might be. So he puts, the key is becoming a lost symbol of Freemasonry, mostly due to the changes in rituals that occurred in the early 19th century. But its significance is still worth noting, as some still might find this small symbol still hiding in plain sight. Well, it's a big giant thing in the middle of Bath. The curious point about this symbol is that unlike the other symbols, which are normally literally described within the ceremony, this symbol is actually a pictorial metaphor of a part of the ceremony which is unfortunately no longer common. The part forgotten The forgotten part of the ritual is first found in the earliest known exposure of Masonic ritual, namely Masonry Dissected, written in 1730 by Samuel Pritchard. The passage given is, "Have you any key to the secrets contained in the lodge?" "Yes." "Where do you keep it?" "In a bone box that neither opens nor shuts, but with ivory keys." "Does it hang or does it lie?" "It hangs." "What does it hang by?" "A tow line 9 inches or a span." "What metal is it of?" "No manner of metal at all, but a tongue of good report is as good behind a brother's back as before his face." The key is actually referring to the tongue of the mason being questioned. The bone box is their mouth, lined with teeth. The tow line is the roof of the mouth. The entire passage is about how a Freemason is meant to keep the secrets that are passed to them, which itself is a test of the individual's integrity. The passage is no longer common. In fact, it is very rare. The symbol itself can be seen on very old tracing boards of the first degree, as a very small key hung on a rung of Jacob's ladder. Good luck finding one. Right, well, it took me ages to find this description, so I'll go and find one of those tracing boards and we can have a look at the pictures. So I don't know if this is one of their tracing boards or not, to be honest, and I don't really care. But as you can see, the key is on the bottom left. Yeah, it was quite difficult to find some images of the key. It's not as prominent as the rest of the symbols, like the bloke said. But here's a couple more, and that's enough on the bloody Freemasons. Oh look, Mark, one of those lesser spotted mythical vehicles that we've only seen 9 of today. Oh. Oh. I'll just be quiet about that. I've got the pointy bit, yeah, Mark. And it's like, oh, can you hear that? Happy?
Yeah.
That'll do.